Hello everyone, welcome back to EPL Fantasy Tips. I'm your host, Simon Berrickle. Today I'll be going over the picks for Gameweek 7. You can see my squad here. I'll try to make it a little bit faster today. I know I'm a bit early, but I figured there was one midfielder, Rodrigo, I wanted to get rid of because he's injured until the first week of October. So I ended up bringing in Luis Diaz and captained him, as you can see on my screen here. Alright, as usual, let's go back and begin with the goalkeepers and defenders, followed by the midfielders and the forward group. Have a look at the fixtures here. Liverpool drew against Everton. It was quite a good game, if you managed to catch it. I believe that there could have been several more goals in that game, but both keepers, him and Pickford, were exceptional the entire game. I like Becker, I like Alisson because of the low selection rate. If he does well, then your team will have a little bit of a boost, shall we say. Alright, now on to the defender group here. First I have Gabriel. I've slotted him back in off the bench. He's playing Everton. Arsenal's playing very well, and I think he will continue to perform. The last 2 game weeks he only had a few points there, but I like him again because this very low selection rate. You want to have players in your squad that have lower numbers, because if they do perform, you will outpace everyone else who has selected the higher percentage selections. Have a look at the fixtures here for Arsenal. Lots of green, so besides Liverpool and Man City, I think I'll keep him in for the next 2 game weeks, and then wherever there's a green game, I'll put him back in as well. Alright, and then Reece James, Chelsea's playing Fulham. He has 3 weeks in which he's had 7 points. His selection percentage is still quite low enough to have an advantage. Fixtures, Chelsea, as I've mentioned in the previous video, you want to have as many players from Chelsea playing in the first half of the season because their schedule is quite easy, besides Liverpool here, but I think you can just have every Chelsea player you want in until game week 19 against Man City. Okay, and then the last defender I've selected is Van Dijk. Again, Liverpool is playing Wolves, so it should be an easy game for them. They're at home. Again, low selection rate. Fixtures for Liverpool, they're having it's a bit difficult for them, but I think there are still 2 green games. Then again, Van Dijk is a defender, so for those more difficult games, you might want to slot him in on the bench and bring in another defender. Alright, and then on to the midfielder group here. We have Luis Diaz, as I've mentioned. I've captained him. I brought him in, transferred Rodrigo out, and brought Diaz in. He still has quite a low selection rate, and against Bournemouth he had 2 goals, and Crystal Palace he had a goal, so I believe he's ready to put one in the back of the net again quite soon. They play Wolves and then Chelsea. I still believe you could put him in against Chelsea, Arsenal and Man City, since he is a midfielder and could potentially score even though they're very difficult opponents. Next we have Ward-Prowse. They're playing Brentford. Southampton has an easy schedule, lots of green, so I would keep him in until they play Man City and Liverpool, and for the remainder of the games just keep him on the pitch. Okay, and then Sterling. I brought Sterling in last game week. They play Fulham this game week. He did not score or get assists, but I think he will probably do well against Fulham. Only 10% of the people of the entire league have selected him, so I think he's a great value pick and good on differentials as well. And Pascal Gross, again the surprise pick. I think I'm going to just keep him on. He's really one of the best performing midfielders. And still, despite his performance, only 26.9% of the entire league have picked him. So I think you should just put him in as fast as you can, if you don't have him in already. Again, there's some difficult teams here, but it's still green games, so you can have him in for those. And then against Liverpool, Man City and Chelsea, put him on the bench and bring in someone else if you like. We'll do the forward group here. Mitrovic against Chelsea. I know it's a difficult game for them, but he's put in a goal for the past 4 game weeks, and the first game week he had 2. So again, I don't think it matters who he plays. He'll likely score or get some sort of points, perhaps an assist too. There's lots of green for Fulham coming up. Okay, and then second forward selection here is Ivan Toney. Last game week, against Leeds, he had a hat-trick. Too bad I didn't captain him. Oh well. Fixtures. Lots of green still for Brentford. I would just keep him on, and I'd keep him on the whole season, really. He's a good value pick. And he tends to score even against more difficult opponents. And Jesus, I vice-captained him. They're playing Everton this game week. The selection rate is quite high for him, so I think I'm going to bring him off eventually. I think against Liverpool I might bring in a new striker. But he's good for now. Alright, so there's my squad for game week 7. Let me know what you think in the comments. And again, please like and subscribe. I'm Simon Berrycloth, and this is EPL Fantasy Tips on YouTube.